Like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Man, I am live in LA. Man, it's been cool. Um, Tomorrow, well, I just got finished, leaving Compton to, that's where my favorite rapper, Easy E, was from. And got a chance to see a lot of historic sites in Compton. So, like a Compton that's the. So that was real cool. And then tomorrow I'm going to go down there to where Nipsey Hussle got shot. Go visit that tomorrow. But yeah, I'm live in Los Angeles, man. Hit that thumbs up, man. I think hope this is pretty good because we ain't got enough lighting, so I hope everything is okay. But man, that's the issue here. We basically alive. Those of you who want to hit the cash app, cash app is $ lawyer Henderson 40. Cash app. Yeah, man. So we're here. We're in the building. Thumbs up, live, like, share, subscribe. We're in Los Angeles. We are coming from Los Angeles. LA is in the building. Shouts out to Los Angeles, man. Been having a good time, man. Been doing a lot of things, meeting a lot of different people here in Los Angeles. Shouts out to LA, man, and that building. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe. Um, so man, yeah, we're in the building, man. So today we're gonna be talking about, and this is important for us to talk about, are other groups looking for comfort under white supremacy? Is other groups really, um, I guess other groups, I think, want to live comfortably, just like within our race and group. Some certain black people, as you know, they want to just live comfortably under global white supremacy. I think a lot of us want to just live comfortably under white supremacy. I think we just basically want to forget about so-called racism, well, not so-called, but racism in general. We want it to believe that it doesn't exist, right? And what we'll do is we'll try to hide the evidence of that racism. And we'll start talking to, we'll start giving it different names. Like now we have colorism, like what the hell is colorism? But it's a lot of things that doesn't get us to talking about the truth about what's going on under global white supremacy. So that's the question. Um, are other groups looking for comfort under white supremacy? And that's just not only like Hispanics and Asians. That's also the older black generation. Could be your Christian churches. Groups is not only about the extension of just races. It can also be groups like LGBT, gay, um, any other groups that that wants their comfortability under global white supremacy. They want the same system, but think it should that thinks it's going to change based upon the fact that they are just wanting to live under it, knowing that it's not going to change. Understand? Somebody talk black to me. So you only got about 37 minutes if you want to call in 516-418-5867, and then the phone lines are not going to go off. Of course, we are on Pacific time in LA, so the phone lines don't run the whole hour stuff because we came on here. I think it's in Atlanta Eastern time. I think y'all 11 o'clock. So we're getting ready to go to 10 o'clock. So here in Los Angeles. And I'm here for a week, so we'll be reporting our other broadcasts, hopefully on Saturday or Sunday morning, so that we basically can make sure that this week you get your you get your information. We are the Black C-SPAN, so you gotta. This is where Black intellectual society people supposed to be. Like, if there is anything else, Black intellectuals come to Lawyer Henderson TV just to get the deep roots of the problem. See, if you can't dig deep in the roots of the problem, then you really don't have no way to really understanding what's going on. That's the reason why you have to dig deep root into the problem, right? And that's what we do on Lawyer Henderson TV, our podcast. So the question still remains: are other groups looking for comfort under white supremacy? Is that the civil rights generation? Is they looking for comfort under white supremacy? It's Mexicans and Hispanics that stay here in Los Angeles and Florida and Texas, Oklahoma, all your Mexicans, is they really looking for, comfortability on the global white supremacy? And I know they basically stick together, obviously they stick together, you know. I mean, I'm like, it's a whole different world down here. It's a lot of them. They are everywhere here in Los Angeles. And we'll talk about that a little bit. But also, like I said, these other groups have not really fought white supremacy like Black folks have. Black people have fought white supremacy from the beginning of ages. So this is not new to us in fighting global white supremacy. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. So, but we're going to focus, of course, on other groups. And we're going to basically, see if we can basically understand, are other groups really thinking that they will be all right under global white supremacy? Do they really think that they'll be cool and they're able to live their lives under global white supremacy? Let's talk about it. Let's see if I can play my music here. There we go. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. YouTube has me under a serious shallow ban. YouTube does not like promoting our channel. ScrewTube does not like promoting our channel, and we know why. ScrewTube has sent me a community guideline violation talking about you can't be talking about, well, in so many words, it's like, you can't be talking about the vaccine. You're giving misinformation about the vaccine. And the video that you've done, we're taking it off. And that video has been taken off, right? So I had warned YouTube, or ScrewTube rather, that if they keep on taking certain my videos off, then I'm just going to meet them in court, right? Because we have a freedom of speech, okay? We don't have to take this vaccine if we don't think it's safe. So I just want to point out that they don't give the notifications that the Black media is live. They do not like the truth. And I think that's how white supremacy has actually been, in control, this long, because they don't like the truth. It's not, this society doesn't run on truth, right? So that's one of the things of how white supremacy was able to last this long, because it don't run on truth. So yes, I'm out here in Los Angeles, man, and I'm having a good time here. We're starting to film Davion and Michaela when I return back to uh, Atlanta, and man, we got the legendary Angie Stone that's supposed to be with us. I'm not supposed to mention it right now. And comedian Rodney Perry is on board with us for the film Davion and Michaela. Our ebook is ready for download, just $3.99. Some stores I think is charging $5.99. So I had a meeting today. Well, not today. I have a meeting tomorrow here in Los Angeles with a literary agent. Hopefully, the literary agent will be able to just look and say, "Hey, this book is good. I could do something," and then, instead of it being a self-published book, take it everywhere, have that big machine. And man, on my way here, I was talking to a lot of people on the airplane. They're in the music industry and they're wanting to do a soundtrack with the film and stuff like that. So big things are looking up right now. So we're doing a lot of stuff, and that's always, I like always being, you know keeping busy. I don't like to just sit around doing nothing. I like to stay busy. um so these other groups, and I wanted to start off letting people look at this is going to start us off here, and we're going to talk about this because it's going to start us off. you know it really is going to start us off. This is from the Source TV. I'll give them credit. I will.
What's up, everybody? This is Hustle. We're out here in Venice Beach today just to check on people, man, and get the temperature of everybody. We want to ask people, does anything exist negative between blacks and Hispanics? If so, if not, we just want to get varying opinions, man. So we're going to spend a little bit of time out here in the sun, and we'll tap in with you guys in a few. With the temperature of what's going on in the media today, we just want to ask, man, with what you've seen in California, is there a black versus brown issue? And if so, what is that to you?
No, it's not no black and brown issue. It's a black and white issue. That's the big thing. I don't know why people worry about the black and brown. It's the same thing. It's unity.
You feel like it's a real, when you out here in the streets, you feel like it's a unity amongst black and brown.
It's like a unity, you feel me? But you got different black and brown people. You gotta, you feel me? Like I'm saying, like in the streets, check their temperature. You feel me? Absolutely. Where they coming from. You feel me?
Back in the day, things were hostile, but when people realized that we've been getting the short end of the stick for so long, and it's time for us to team up together, look, it's a difference nowadays. Like the kids, you guys are way more alert and aware of this stuff. Like when I was a kid, dude, we weren't even aware of what we were being put through. But now that the knowledge has come out, you guys know what's going on. And I like what Dave Chappelle said the best. He said, "I'm cool right in the backseat. You guys know what's going on right now." And that's what I like. I like watching it. I root from my couch, but I'll be there. I always stand up for what's right, and it's all about what's right. That's all it is. As far as Hispanic hostility, not at all, dude. My apartment buildings, we got all kinds of ethnicities. I'm cool with the Paisas. I'm cool with
Okay. Now, all right. So let me stop that, man. Hold on. All right. Now I had to stop my man right there. Okay, because he said that there was no real hostility between blacks and Hispanics. Okay. Now we have some a history together as far as gang members fighting here. Of course, here in California, they started it where it started really. Hispanics and didn't like black people. Black people and Hispanics, they fought all the time. Especially during the late 70s, the late 80s, kind of around the 80s and 90s. We were really at each other's throat at the time. Okay, so my homie here just said, not the black dude, but the Hispanic dude said, well, we got all of these, different types of races living in a complex. Okay, now I understand that, but you know, everybody has used that against us before, right? I mean, you can have all these types of racists living in an apartment complex, but that doesn't mean that you're integrated. That doesn't mean that everybody is cool with each other. You know what I'm saying? Man, so Hispanics and Mexicans here in California, they are basically locked together. Remember, in the 90s, they declared that since they're the majority, that they were going to basically lock black folks out. And I think they pretty much did it. Man, I was driving all around here in Los Angeles, man, they got everything like locked down. And black people is basically literally have been ran out of Compton. Like I was like when I was coming from Compton to pay my respects to Easy E, my favorite rapper, man, Compton, you can't tell if it's black right now because they have brought all these Hispanics and everybody. You know, they're taking over. They've already taken over Compton. So the thing about it is that black people have played in the game of integration for so long that we have allowed other people to come in and say, okay, since you Negroes are not doing nothing, y'all not building up the community, let us build up the community. We can do it. And they're basically telling white folks, well, we'll be your new, well, they're looking for white folks to say that we're your honorary um, class that you can oppress better than the Negroes. We're willing to help you, you know, advance in your living, right? And as you know, Hispanics, they got all of their markets. They got, you know, a store here and a store there. It's like a little like shopping mart, right? And all of these shopping marts owned by Hispanics, nobody who worked there but Mexican and Hispanics, and they all do business. And no black person is working there. They might have a black person mopping the floor or something like that, but they don't have a black person actually working in the store in these markets here in California, for instance. So when he says, well, everybody's getting along, we as black people have to watch that because we might have people stand next to each other, but when it comes to the economic system, everybody keeps black folks out of it, right? Black people don't understand that. But as the black dude was, well, not the black dude, but the one thing that the Hispanic the guy did say, which I agree with, is that yeah, we're more alert, man. He was saying that we are more alert, and I think is you know we wait so long a lot of times as black folks to we wait for the last minute to try to correct things. But it goes on to show though that the Hispanics are and the Mexicans they're moving in. Like I said, Florida, Dallas, Texas, or Texas in general. They got Las Vegas locked down, Nevada. You know, pretty much the West Coast is pretty much locked down with them. Um, of course, Florida, and Texas, like I said, and here in Los Angeles. So they're locking down a lot of this. And Amos Wilson talked about this back in the 1980s, how that they were going to lock down a lot of these, let's say, territories in the United States, if you will, locking black folks out of certain types of areas, and that really what happened. But the subject here is that since, and before I get into that, Asians, white people basically has said, all right, you Asians, y'all are only 3% of the American society, right? Y'all only make up 3%. Okay. I was in a restaurant here. Well, didn't go into there to eat, But because of the subject matter of today, I went into a restaurant, Chinese restaurant, and I saw nothing but Mexicans and Hispanics eating in the Asian restaurants. And I was like, huh, I've seen a few black folks in there. But I was like, oh, okay. Is the Hispanics and Mexicans looking for new oppressors? Is what I asked the question. Now remember, Jim Crow Joe Biden told the civil rights leaders um, that you guys need to start working with the Hispanics. Remember, he told the civil rights and people, y'all need to start working with the Hispanics. Okay, but the Hispanics are wanting new oppressors. They are actually in eating in Chinese restaurants. I mean, a lot of them some of them been doing it, but it's growing in the stuff. Like the Asians and Hispanics are eating in both each other's restaurants, right? Asians. I went to a Chinese restaurant and saw Asians, and then I saw Asians eating a few Mexican food. Now that doesn't really happen a lot, right? And it wasn't that many Asian people doing that, especially here, in Los Angeles is where this happened. That doesn't really happen. Asians typically don't eat nobody's food but their own. Um, so I'm like, huh, this is very interesting. So I asked the question: are Mexicans and Hispanics, are they looking for new oppressors? Do they think that Asians are really going to basically have their back? Okay, we know that Asians in America, like I said a minute ago, only make up about 3%. Okay, of the American population, and they're already growing economically. But during the pandemic, the people here and some people in Los Angeles stopped. Mexicans and Black people here in Los Angeles did stop, according to what a guy told me. They did stop eating in the restaurants for a while, right? So there is places where Chinese people are not getting any business, right? I went to Long Beach, and inside Long Beach, there was a restaurant where they had no customers at all. Okay. So I'm sitting there observing that they had no customers whatsoever in the restaurant. Okay. So here I go. I pulled out my pad, which I always like to have, and I start jotting down, why is it that everybody get us to believe that we are living in a integrated society, but yet there's no multicultural partnerships with Black folks? You see, other races have partnerships with each other. Black folks don't have that. And you got the government constantly and consistently doing things, signing bills, legislation specifically for Asians and Mexicans and Hispanics. And they're telling us, we as Black folks, well, you niggers, y'all gonna have to start working with the Hispanics. Okay? Now, let's back up here a little bit. Jim Crow Joe Biden want to make 11 million Mexicans legal, right? 11 million. Now, we all know that 11 million, half of them, we all know that Mexicans and Hispanics really don't go to college. Some do. Don't get me wrong. Some do. Some eke out and go to college, specifically the women. Okay. So, in a sense, then, California. Remember, I told y'all when I went to Las Vegas, right? If you went and looked at my commentary when I was doing in Las Vegas, remember I said that Mexican guy who was riding with Lyft, he said that he wanted to learn his full English so he can become a police officer in Las Vegas. Remember that? So California and Las Vegas, they got the same style as police officers. Okay. So they're recruiting them as soon as they learn full English, right? Um, so your Hispanic men and your Hispanic women are not only police officers, they're also your firefighters and your ambulance here as well in California and as well as Nevada. So what Black people are missing out on is that Mexicans are coming south of the border. They're getting asylum in the United States and they're immediately getting into jobs and positions. I've seen when I was coming from, I just got finished also at CVS, and they had nothing but Mexican cashiers, Hispanic security guards. So white people are really basically allowing them now to run your soft end, what I call soft end employment and general work, right? Um, of course, restaurants, they're going to be in those. So now, if they're learning and educating um, them full English so that they could basically get into jobs, what does that say about the Black people who've been pushed out of jobs as far as after this pandemic, right? So we are woke as Black folks, but we still are not together. We're still not looking at what goes on. Now, it was interesting that the young Black dude, let me get on the other part of it. The young Black dude he said that it was not a Black and brown fight, but something to the fact that it was against Black and white. Okay. So he, as a young person, recognized that we do have issues, a lot of issues with white folks, keeping us down, doing a lot of stuff, trying to tell us, what progress looked like. And, I keep having the white people I debate all the time, I keep having telling them, it's not up to y'all to tell us what progress we have made. It is us to say what our progress is. And you have to remind them of that, because if you don't, then they're going to just throw that up in your face. You Negroes, y'all are making progress. No, who says we are making progress? Because you said it, or because I'm white and I say so? No, we're not making progress until we get our reparations. Okay. Now, I want to continue this video, but keep in mind the young Black dude, and he's only about 16, 15, 16, give or take. But he recognized that, we used to have problem with the Hispanics or Mexicans, but we really now is, I think he thinking that we're fighting this same beast, which is white people, but he's not really correct, and I'll tell you why. Well, let's continue.
It's just, no, I don't see that. I don't see that.
The history behind Black versus Hispanic goes way, way, way back. For many years. When I was young, middle school, that's when it started. I was in my first riot versus Hispanic. And, over the years, I would say it got better, but, it just needs time to grow, come together, do more activities together, try to, bring all the riffraff down and, just... And understand why you're doing it. Yeah, understand why we're doing it and, let's just time to squash this, racism type stuff and just all come together.
All right, see, now that's why you just don't ask any random Black person a question like that. Because when they're confronted with the camera, they're going to say the same thing, right? That any other person would expect them to say. We have to come together, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no one is refusing to come together. What we're saying is, as Black people, is that we need resources, right? We need resources. That's why you can't basically come together and be one if you don't have the resources. I want to go on now to talk about, and I'm going to give credit to nothing but politics news. California woke revolution is driving out blacks and Hispanics. Okay, no state wears its multicultural veneer more ostentatiously than California. The Golden State leaders believe that they lead a progressive paradise. Others see California as a deserving of nationhood. It reflects, as a New York Times columnist put it, the shared values of an increasingly tolerant and pluralistic society. In response to the brutal killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti announced plans to defund the police, despite the city's steep rise in homicides. San Francisco Mayor London Breed wants to do the same in her increasingly crime-ridden, disordered city. The state has also become a sanctuary for illegal immigrants, complete with driver license for some 1 million and free health care. Despite these progressive intentions, Hispanics and African Americans, 45% of the total population, fare worse in the state than almost anywhere nationwide. Based on the U.S. Census Bureau cost of living estimate, 28% of California's black live in poverty, compared to 22% nationally. One third of Latinos, the state's largest ethnic group, live in poverty, compared with 21% nationally. Since 1990, Los Angeles' black share of a population has dropped in half. Okay, blacks constitutes barely 5% of San Francisco's population, down from 13% 4 decades ago. A recent poll found that 58% of African Americans expressed interest in leaving the state. 45% of Asians and Latinos are also considering moving out. Okay. These residents may appreciate California's celebration of diversity, but they find the state increasingly inhospitable to their needs and their families. More than 30 years ago, the Populations Reference Bureau predicted that California was creating a two-tier economy with more affluent white and Asian population and largely poor Latino and African American class. Rather than find ways to increase opportunity for blue-collar workers, the state imposed strict business regulations that drove an exodus of the industries, notably manufacturing and middle management service jobs that historically provided gateways to the middle class for minorities. Following Floyd's death, even green groups like Sierra Club issued bold anti-racist proclamations, but they still push policies that only lead to higher energy and housing costs, which hurt the aspirational poor. Many businesses, including small firms, must convert from cheap natural gas to expensive green generated electricity, a policy admittedly opposed by the state's African American, Latino, and Asian Pacific Chamber of Commerce. Okay. Meantime, California's strict COVID-19 lockdown policies have imperiled small firms. Many restaurants, roughly 60%, are minority owned. They may never recover, notes the California Restaurant Association. Likewise, of many mom and pop stores. All right, so let me stop right there. Now, this so-called virus is only a testament of basically to keep all minorities in at a, like I said, segmented labor market. The overall Black, Hispanic, Asian population in the United States. So it used to be that we'll have a system for you Negroes. Now it is that we're just simply just going to bring viruses and tell y'all to close down your economy, right? So the thing about this is that as reading this article, is California Revolution, they're recognizing that here in this state, that both Black and Hispanics are suffering because of the drive of, higher wages and stuff like that. Higher cost of living, and now all of the jobs that where people were actually was able to make a living, even when they was owning their own business, right? COVID-19 destroyed all of that. So now you got poverty, like on Skid Row. You got a lot of people on Skid Row who is homeless. You got a lot of Black people being pushed to sleep in their RVs. You got Mexicans, they're sleeping in their RVs. You drive down, what's that interstate by 110 going east or west, whatever. That park, it's a park over there. I forget the name of it, but I passed that and you see all of the homelessness, right? But California continued to be one of those states that doesn't care about what really is what Black and Hispanics need. A lot of Black people said they were leaving the state. Okay, your older Black folks are homeless. Most of them are homeless as well. So now people are having at some point to live like 4, 5, 6, or 7 people to a small house in order to make to meet the rent here. So, like when I was in Compton, where you have a lot of your Mexicans, is they were able, like I said, there 3 or 4 people living in a home down there in Compton for $700 or $800. See, they could basically pay their rent there because Compton, the apartment there is nothing but 7, 8 thousand, no more than $1,000. But if you go to Beverly Hills or you're going to downtown Atlanta, Los Angeles, then that's where your prices is $1,600, $2,000, $4,000, $5,000. So the driving of cost, you know what I'm saying, is that the pandemic was supposed to also bring a different type of economic system. The pandemic was supposed to stop people from striving, where you had the mom and pop stores, especially in places like Los Angeles, you see. And that's always going to happen under global white supremacy. If you think that this is going to be the only pandemic that we have, or we're going to have, then you are dead wrong. Okay? Because the United States feed off in chaos. We've been telling y'all this for the longest in the Black media. So the topic is let's get to the topic now, and the phone lines are going to be closed here in a minute. Is other groups looking for comfort under white supremacy? Now, the question is very straightforward. And what I was, and Hispanics and Mexicans, y'all, and Asians, they can look for comfort in the United States, whether it be California, here in California, whether it be in Georgia, whether it be back home in my hometown of Oklahoma, Nevada, Texas, Florida, whatever. You can look for comfort. But now the question is, by there being higher rises in rent and higher cost of living going up, would you be better off going back to Mexico? Okay, it's a good question. See, the Black people was driven out of town back in the year 2000. You had a lot of Black people in California that was already leaving the state. And I was like I said, I was also walking down. This happened to me in Nevada too. when I was walking in Nevada, when I was in Las Vegas, I mean, I was just walking, just walking like any person, getting ready to go to the park. And there was this black chick. She had her little Mexican boyfriend, and they crossed over on the other side. I'm like, what the hell is this? And here in Los Angeles, the same thing. Um, they certain of them are told not to basically even walk past a black person here. Okay, they said don't even walk past a Negro. Not because they're scared of us. It's because this is supposed. Some Hispanics and Mexicans are undermining black folks because they've been taught by white people that they are also better than us. You see. So we asked whether or not on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show are Hispanics and Mexicans looking for new oppressors, or they're comfortably with white supremacists being their oppressors. Because when you go and eat into an Asian restaurant, right? But you don't go and eat into a black restaurant. You don't go and eat in a soul food restaurant, or you don't want to go to a Caribbean restaurant and patronize black people. I got questions on that. Okay?
10 seconds.
Is Asians going to be your new people that y'all are going to support just like y'all do white folks? Or act funny just like, I'm saying y'all act funny towards us. Y'all are in there, Hispanics and Mexicans. Y'all are basically now helping the Asians to build up their ecological system along with yourself, but not supporting black people. So when you ask a black person, this is the reason why you can't ask every random black person. Like the young boy, the young kid, he was basically said something that was good. You know what I'm saying? He's young, so he understands it, even at that young age. Okay. But, asking these older black people now, it depends. Because a lot of them are not woke. A lot of them are just wanting to die peacefully. And they're going to say what everybody wants you to hear. Everybody wants to hear. But to break it down, we're looking, and I know I have a white audience as well, but we're looking at the economic situation here. We're asking the questions if the Hispanics and Mexicans are eating in Asian restaurants and going to Chinatown, downtown Los Angeles. But why can they go into that Black Caribbean restaurant? Why are they not eating in the Black Soul Food restaurant? Okay, so now we understand now that everybody is against us. Everybody is undermining us. That's the reason then why we're out here saying we have no black and brown coalition. So when Jim Crow Joe Biden says that y'all need to start working with the Hispanics, what do you think he meant by that when he told the civil rights retreads that we need to start working with the Hispanics? What do you think that he was saying there? Well, when you look at how the Hispanics and the Mexicans are basically what they're doing by supporting Asians and not black folks, when you look at the Hispanics where they got their own thing and they're not basically purchasing anything from the black community, they set up their own restaurants, which is, more power to them, and I gotta respect that because they come together. They know how to come together. They put their resources together. They basically good, they don't, they're not like black folks who want to do everything individually. So I understand that. But Jim Crow Joe Biden talked about we got to start working with them. Why? Because they're out there looking for new oppressors. And if the Asians are going to be their new oppressors, then I, as a black man, want no part of that black and brown coalition. I'm just saying. That's my opinion. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's go ahead and continue to read what is going on here. It says, meantime, California's strict COVID-19 lockdown policies have imperiled small firms. Many restaurants, roughly 60%, are minority owned, may never recover, notes that the California Restaurant Association, likewise for many moms and pop stores. See, this was very planned by the government. They don't want minority people to really own and run anything. They want to keep these Negroes to be, y'all stay basketball players, y'all keep a ball in their hand, y'all Negroes, y'all go and try to look for jobs. But don't y'all start talking about no economic system or no reparations and all that crap. So they basically know that this pandemic was supposed to just basically stop a lot of mom and pop stores from functioning. But it goes on to say here, again, educators often seem more interested in political indoctrinations than improving scholastic results. Half of California high school students can barely read, but the educational establishment has implemented ethnic studies courses designed to promote a progressive, even anti-capitalist, and race-centered agenda. Unless the education system changes, California African American and Hispanic students face an uncertain future. A woke consciousness or deeper ethnic identification won't lead to a successful career. One can operate a high-tech, latent, managed logistics or engineered space program with ideology. California's failure to improve conditions of Latinos and Blacks was evident even before the lockdown risked recent unrest. What the state's minorities need is not less policy or systematic looting of unskilled neighborhoods or step into reimpose affirmative action or kneeling politicians. They need policies that empower working class citizens of all races to ascend into the middle class. Now, see, the fact that this guy is even writing this article is laughable because the businesses that this pandemic had taken over, had taken from them, was doing just that. It was providing folks to go into the middle class, you see. But when he talks here about California African American Hispanic students face an uncertain future, okay, what uncertain future do they face? Now, I'm in agreement, but the fact of the matter is that they're pushing Black people just out, out, out. Like I said, I'm going to go visit Nipsey Hussle Memorial where his shop was. They pushed him out literally by allowing that game him a thug, that snitch, to kill him, so that they could basically take control of that parking deck on Crenshaw because you can make a lot of money there. Okay. Anything economically that we start doing, white people are pushing back on those things. So I understand at one point we need a Black and brown coalition, but if we basically know that Black people really are not going to come together to build a coalition, and as far as a Black and brown coalition, Hispanics are right now looking for Asians to pimp them just like the white people are doing. So we really basically are not starting off smart here. You understand? We're really, even though we became more smarter individually, we're not smarter as a group here. But to finally finish this up from article California Woke Revolution by Joe L. Koken, the presidential fellow in urban future at Chapman University. The state's leadership prioritized improving middle class jobs and opportunities, replacing indoctrination with skills and acquisitions, and encouraging local businesses. What they've been talking this same game with us since we've been in this country. They'll have a few of us go for it, and then they'll bring some type of crisis that makes everything go backwards. This is how they continue to do stuff. You understand? And black folks and Hispanics and Asians, all of the races keep playing white folks' game. They just keep playing the same game. It goes on to finish off here that considering the nature of California politics, this can happen only if minority Californians demand something different. That could happen if enough of these residents realize that the state's ruling progressive class is interested in their votes, but apparently not improving their lives. Okay, so, and that's the reason why they always try to keep us from talking about voting. They had kept black people caught up into they got us caught up into, used to have us caught up into celebrities and rappers. So the phone lines are now closed. But see, that's the issue, though. That's the issue. And we are on a shallow ban from ScrewTube. ScrewTube has not, since we've been on, ScrewTube has basically have not told people about our notifications at all. But anyway, thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to share the YouTube video and podcast. So I'm just asking the question. That's all. Like I said in my YouTube blog, the YouTube blog that you're going to see here is only asking a question for Hispanics and Mexicans. Are y'all basically wanting new oppressors? Because y'all are, I mean, like I said, I was there and I looked at I was like, let me go in there and see. I was like, is this at Compton? I'm like, is this Chinese restaurant open during the pandemic? And I peeked my head in there, and sure enough, all of these Hispanics sitting there eating Chinese food. You understand? But the black restaurants, they don't get that support from y'all. See, we don't have a black and brown coalition here. You see, especially if we're not seeing no economic relationships, multicultural business partnerships, that there's no such thing as the multicultural society. You understand? So this black and brown coalition doesn't exist because as the grassroots black people, we're not trying to look for new oppressors. Okay, we're trying to free ourselves away from the oppression. You understand? And so, what we wanting everybody to understand, and what everybody is moving around, is they have been giving us they haven't been giving us civil rights generation symbolic gestures for so long. They think that the children are going to fall for the same trap. And what they're finding out is that we're not falling for the same crap that the older civil rights generations fell for. And that is symbolic gestures. See, throwing down monuments and getting rid of monuments and putting up a George Floyd statues, those are symbolic gestures that we're not even interested in. See, they think they're going to be able to psych us out that way. Okay? And so, since they didn't psych us out that way, what white supremacists then do is say, okay, look, since you Negroes are going to continue to be smart and not going to basically work with the Hispanics and also try to look and improve your way under global white supremacy, then we'll just shut down the whole economy by saying, here's a pandemic. And that's their strategy. That's how they've been basically able to destroy economic systems, destroys black communities and moms and pop stores, and to make sure that we basically don't strive. That and Hispanics and Mexicans like to play that game. Asians like to play that game. And the civil rights generation is trying to teach us to play the same game. But we're saying no to that game. But that's their only strategy. Every time we flourish, every time that there is a growth of economics, you better believe that white folks are going to come up with an ideology, a different ideology to keep us down. They're going to destroy your economic system. If they can't do anything else, they destroy your economic system because that's the last resort. And if you Negroes going to call yourself talking about you're going to open up your businesses, then they'll bring in martial law. They'll basically start recruiting all kinds of, they'll deputize other white men and white supremacists and Hispanics or whatever. They'll come in and they will close down your business, force you out of your homes, do all kinds of stuff just to make sure you don't what? Economically become strong, you see. And that's what they have been doing up until the George Floyd thing. Now, let's say if we didn't have a pandemic with the George Floyd riot, it'll be kind of hard to say that we would have been on code at that point without the COVID-19. It's kind of hard to say because we had riots back in the 1960s and the 1970s, and then we had riots in the 1980s where we didn't have a calamity or we didn't have we didn't have any kind of diseases, and black people started to go back in their comfort zone. They started to get back memorized and obsessed with celebrity and football and basketball and all these other types of sports and rap. And black people then began again to believe that we're in a multicultural society. You see, that has always worked, on us because we have looked to sports, we looked to rappers, we have looked to celebrity to basically keep us in the segmented labor market. And while everybody was out making money in other communities, black people were taught, no, you go out there, you support the Rams, you go out there, you support the Falcons or the Los Angeles Raiders and stuff like that. We continue to get caught up into celebrity. That's the reason why white people throw celebrities out at us, right? They throw out celebrity because they want the black celebrity to speak for us. And we're telling the black celebrity, no, you don't speak for us because 9 times out of 10, the black celebrity does not have enough information and knowledge. You understand? It was trying to, and that's the situation. So we start calling out the black celebrity during the pandemic, right? We start calling out P. Diddy. We start calling out, Kanye West, all these other people who were trying to, call themselves speaking for the black grassroots. You understand? And you have to always, as Professor Truth taught us, you have to always watch out whether or not if white people are going to prop up some Negro. He all on ABC News or he on CBS, he's on Meet the Press, he's on MSNBC. Every time that Negro is on certain types of shows, we got to start looking at their record. Like we didn't know where Obama came from. We had to check his paperwork and learn and discover this man didn't grow up in Chicago. So we have to start checking people. Remember, last commentary I did, that Bass guy I was telling you about, I think that's his name. We had to check his paperwork and found out that he was a contributor for Fox News. See, this is what we're talking about. A lot of these immigrants, they put out in front of us because, see, in their country, they're used to white mommy and white daddy and luxing all over them. See, we're not like that in the black community. So they'll be putting these foreign black folks out there in front of us, and we'll be like, where did this Negro come from? Well, we got to check out this person's paperwork. and we find out this food is from the Caribbean and stuff, that's what is going on now because they have no other game plan for us. You see, they basically know that they have pushed us back into the wall, so there's no real. They're basically desperate now. There's nothing they can do. Aha! What about a pandemic? What about just keep on just what shutting down economies? And then at that point, you won't be able to do that no more because you'll have riots and violence in the streets. You see. So that can only work because see when people see, and we're going to be going. We fit to wrap up here in just a moment, but I want to lastly end when I talk there about Hispanics and Mexicans and Asians and other people who are basically looking for new oppressors. You got to understand something, Black folks. They're saying that there's going to be a food shortage coming in the next 20 years. In the next 20 years, there's going to be a food shortage. It may happen sooner. And in that food shortage, you're going to go to the store and you're going to learn or find that there's not going to be enough food on the shelves, right? So, what do when there are scarce resources? You start shooting, you start killing, you start fighting. You understand? And one of the things about that is that when you start, when you know that there's a scarce of resources, people start to commit violence against each other. So the shortage is going to really, really take out a lot of people. Now you remember the gangs in the 80s and in the 80s and 90s. Remember they were just if you had on red or you had on blue, you got shot and killed. Right? The new war is going to be over food shortages in the coming world order, and I'm telling you all. You better start stacking up. Not now. I wouldn't say that you're going to have a problem now. But next 5 years, other black media is telling you now, but I don't. Not now. It's not. It's not going to happen right now. But that doesn't mean it won't. But I'm just saying. But it's coming. There's going to be a food shortage where because of all the things that is happening um, like Alaska, like other places like that where it's typically cold, it is now actually hot now. So they have a lot of situations where it is becoming hot. That the sun is moving towards Earth now, and so white people, how they sweat a lot and stuff like that. So they're going to have to get extra protection, right? Because the sun is moving closer to the earth and it can burn out their skin. So you're going to see a lot of white people trying to get a lot of sun tans. It's like in California, it's already a problem here. You had people who basically years before who had a lot of heat strokes and they died. Oh, but it's going to come worse because, like I said, the sun, the atmosphere, all of that stuff is coming closer to Earth. You understand? And and if you don't have like an air condition, well, if they don't have an air condition, because black folks we have melanin in our body. The melanin protect us from the sun, and that's the reason why they've been studying us for so long. So this melanin that's going to come, it's going to come very, very, very quick. So the sun the sun is going to be so. How should I put it? How can I put it? Like the sun is going to just be burning bodies, right? We're talking about a situation where, man, you're going to be like, how the Mexicans, the Indians, when they were basically placed on a plantation, right? Remember, white folks had them on a plantation first when they came to conquer them, when they took America, and their bodies couldn't basically do nothing. They were falling out here, falling and passing out. See, that's how it's going to come again. But they put black folks out there because we have melanin in our body that protect us from the sun and sunlight. So now, when what they call global warming, when that comes in the next 20 years, man, we're going to have a whole thing. But see, what the science community is trying to do, the science community know it. That's the reason why they try to get all these vaccines so that we don't produce anymore, children and stuff. So they're trying to use that on us because they know we have the sunlight on our side. The sun is actually on our side, you know. And so what they're trying to do, they're trying to use vaccines against us, where we got the sun, you know. We got all kinds of things that the air that God brings us, whatever. So this is gonna be harsh. But no, but what I'm telling y'all, watch that food shortage. Watch that food shortage coming. It's coming. Watch that food shortage, man. It's going, I'm telling you, it's gonna start wars. Okay, it's going to start wars, and what we have to be ready for is get our canned goods, get our food ready because it's coming. It's going to start wars, man. And man, whew, if you ain't got no food uh, and you got to go out there and fight, and there's scarce resources. Now, if you're scared to fight, you're just going to go hungry. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why we're warning y'all now on the black community, on the black on the underground black media. We're warning y'all, black people, about the food shortages that's coming. Right? All right. If you have not subscribed to our channel, like, share, and subscribe. I want to thank you for listening. There are going to be people, of course, you're going to go back and listen to the video, which is always good. But yeah, man, but I think that, you know, other races, they're looking for new oppressors among white supremacy. And black people, especially on the grassroots, we're not for that. We're not for that at all. Because, you know, our master teachers, Amos Wilson and Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Clark, Francis Cress Welsing, Sayashara Ali, they've been telling us a lot. Sister Soldier, I had her on. Well, not I didn't have her on. I had like a video clip of her. Man, she was spitting some fire. And go back and look at that commentary. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. You've been listening to the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Thank you.